Caden James, and you're listening to Spearlit. Take your life to the next level. Stop playing small. It's time to light it up.
Today our guest is psychic medium and empath Tomko, who was just featured in Vogue magazine. We're going to be talking all about how to connect with those who have passed, some of the messages they may have for us, and spiritual surrender. Gear up for an enlightening conversation. Welcome to the podcast, Roy.
I'm excited, thank you.
So we connected actually through Threads. It's kind of like the new platform, and I've been having a lot of fun on that. Have you enjoyed it as well?
You know, I think it's cool. I'm getting acclimated. I love Instagram, so I feel good about it. And, you know, I'm playing around with it here and there. It's trying to grow. Everything's about growth. So I love it. I have started to get really into like the reels and just speaking to the camera. I've been on a few podcasts and just taking like snippets and then turning them into a reel and then making that happen. And it's been really, really good. And, you know, I really started a lot during COVID when I was doing a live stream on Instagram through COVID. I've started building my following that way, doing readings with the LGBTQ plus community. And then it just has been growing ever since then. So what I like is that I have a really good, diverse mixture of followers who truly love what I do. They're uplifting, and they're so supportive. And that's what I really love about it. So it's been good. Good journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so nice that you've been able to be there for people through those challenging times when they were kind of alone. And so many people were doing that deep inner work at that time. So I'm sure that that really helped. Was there a reason or like a moment where you just decided, I'm going to go online and I'm just going to start sharing this gift? And what kept you from doing that before the pandemic?
So I was never really a big social media person prior to the pandemic, to be honest with you. I kind of was more into myself and just really more one-on-one individual type of thing. But when COVID happened, I feel like it forced us to kind of try new things and get us out of a comfort zone. And I was like, okay, let's really work on some social media. There's nothing else to do. I'm stuck at home. And that kind of just started this whole journey through me watching a lot of my friends doing lives on Instagram and then just really growing that way. And it's been just really a good evolution for me, you know? And now I feel like it's part of who I am in my everyday life, you know, as you wake up and you just post, and now we have all these other platforms, TikTok and Threads and everything else going on. So like we're all over the place.
I would love to have you take me through like the beginning of your journey, how you kind of came into understanding that you had this gift.
So I would say about 3 years old, I was able to see spirit on the other side, you know, communicate. It all started with an individual around my parents' home that would show themselves to me as a very young child. And I would go home and tell my mom and dad, oh, I see this spirit. I see this man's walking around. They're like, what man? We don't see a man. Where's this man? You know, all this fun stuff. And that's kind of how it started. They believed me. My parents have always been very, very supportive, and they've always been able to uplift me and encourage me the entire way, which is really great. But then what I noticed is, you know, like any child, as you start to go through growth, developing friendships, developing a tribe, going to school, you have your up and down moments. You know, you deal with the bullying and the different aspects of growth. And spirit knows when to put itself in the forefront and when to back away so that we're able to grow and learn. And it was really a tug of war back and forth throughout my entire journey of growth with school. It would come and then it would go, and it would come and it would go, but it would know when to make itself present and when to back away during difficult times. And what I started to notice was through high school, a lot of my friends would come up to me and they would be like, give me advice on this. You told this person this and it happened, and tell me about this and this, right? But I never really knew what I was doing. Like at that age, I was still like, what's happening? What's going on? I didn't really understand the whole psychic dynamic and all of this. I just knew that I had an ability, a gift, but really didn't know really how to hone in and really what to do with it. But I noticed that a lot of what I was saying was happening and was coming true. And I realized I was literally giving people beautiful psychic guidance or psychic advice and was helping them along their way in their journey. And that's kind of how it all started to happen and kind of evolve and grow. And then from there, I trained with different mentors and did different practice circles and different spiritual groups and all that fun stuff. And then went to college and did some schooling and graduated, worked in corporate for a minute. And then after that, one day I went in and I said, I quit. And that was pretty much it. And I've been on this beautiful spiritual journey, helping people with spiritual guidance and connecting with spirit ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. You said that you were 3 and you saw this man. Was it
Mhm.
ever frightening to you, or it just felt like normal? It just
Felt
felt,
normal. It felt normal to me, Kate. Like I never really felt alarmed. I never felt nervous or scared.
Mhm.
Um, till this day when I communicate with spirit, and spirit will switch things up on us. It will, I mean, I have the ability of unknowing, so I kind of know things to be true or know this to be for you. But as you know, there's so many different clairs out there, and some people can smell, some people can see and hear, and they feel. There's so many different, they'll switch things up. So for me early on, it was more of a sight thing for me, where it was him making himself very present to me.
Mhm.
And I never really felt alarmed or nervous in any way, shape, or form. Now I don't see so much. It's more of a knowing or a sensing that this is around.
Do you think that that's because you've decided that that's your boundary? Like you want to sense it and feel it, or does it just change with time?
I don't think it's a boundary thing. I think that spirit, and this is what I was taught in mentorships, is they will, when we start to get too comfortable as a spiritual being in receiving communication a certain way, they will, for fun, switch things up. And they might throw a curveball every so often and be like, now we're going to give you smell for a minute. And now you're going to just smell roses and lavender and know that to be for that individual.
Mm.
So they're playful and they're fun. And I always welcome it. For me, it's always an evolution of learning and growth with the spiritual realm. And right now I'm very much in the thing, like the knowing and the sensing of this to be for somebody. And it's been that way for some time, and I kind of enjoy it. But
Yeah.
every so often I will get a smell. I'll be like, do you know that, do you know this to be true that your grandfather was a cigar smoker? Because I'm smelling cigars. Do you
Mhm.
know? And they'll give me that information. And it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. And when it comes to energy, now, I mean, obviously everything in the universe is energy, but does our energy when we pass over kind of go into the light?
The light for me is a different vibrational plane
Mhm.
that is still around us. That's the light for me. Okay. So the way I see it and the way I experience it and the way I'm getting the communication from loved ones on the other side is that they are around us. They are
Mhm.
just at a higher vibrational level, different plane, but still around us. That to me would be the light or the other side. That's
Mhm.
how I envision it. And that's how I feel comfortable in explaining it to others. So that is that. Now, as far as their energy goes, their energy is very unique, just like our energy is unique as a human. So the way that they would have been here is how they present themselves on the other side. They do, for me, again, every psychic medium works differently. So I'm speaking on my experience and how I see them. For me, they kind of revert back to when they felt their best or their most comfortable or their highest point. That's how I kind of feel their energy and how I see them, but it is unique to them. I can tell when there are different energies spiritually around me. So if I feel there's a grandmother around me, a grandfather, and an aunt, I can feel the difference in the energies, and I will pull through the strongest one first and park the other two, we call it park, temporarily, until I'm ready to bring the other one through with a message.
Oh, that's so interesting. I've never heard it described that way. The park,
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, because
yeah, we
it
park
might be
them.
too much energy coming all at
Correct.
once, is it? Like a lot of
Correct.
people trying to talk.
100%. We park,
Yeah.
I call it parking spirit. So I'm like, it's not your turn. So I'm going to park you over here for a little bit. You know what I mean? You're going to
Yeah.
wait your turn and then I'm going to pull you forward when it's ready to go. So that's kind of how I work it. So it's fun. I like to make it playful for people too,
Mhm.
because you have to understand people are nervous
Mhm.
coming into a reading. People have a
Mhm.
lot of anxiety. They don't know what they're going to hear. They're facing some fear. So I try to make it fun and playful for them too.
That is nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a different tone for the whole experience. So
100%.
are there also dark spirits and that darker energy as well?
So me predominantly, I only focus on the light
Hmm.
and I stay open to the light. I set intentions. I put really strong boundaries to only set forth what will support my greatest and highest good in the light, as well as my sitter that I am working with. So I do not pull through anything that I feel would be negative or not of the best energy. All right. Now, not to say that there are some individuals who did not live the best lives on earth that are on the other side that are coming through with apology or are coming through with regret or feelings of remorse that they want to convey over. Not everyone lives a perfect life here. We do have people that do commit some things that are not of the best nature. And those individuals, when they pass, do come forward with messages at times. And I have had that happen. And you present it delicately. But I don't really feel or pull through negative or demonic or anything like that. We watch all these shows on the Travel Channel, Ghost Hunters and Dead Files and all these things. And I'm going to say those shows are great. And I believe that could be around. I just don't set an intention to be around or bring that forward. That's all.
Yeah. Now, from your own life, maybe somebody that's passed on, have you continued a really deep relationship with somebody that you love?
It's an interesting question. I am not able to read or bring forward loved ones for my immediate family. But I can connect with like a spirit guide. So, for example, I've been told by psychic medium friends of mine that my grandmother is a guide for me, and I'm able to tune in and work with her. But I'm not able to bring my grandmother through, for example, my mother with a message. Do you understand? Because our judgment gets clouded based on the relationship of knowing them and knowing our parent or our mother, so it gets skewed, and then our conscious mind and subconscious mind can't differentiate the difference of what truly is a message or what we would want them to hear. So, like, for example, if I was to bring my grandmother through for my mother, I know what my mom would want to hear. So it would be very hard for me to separate the difference and not give her that message and know if that message is truly coming from my grandmother on the other side, or is it because that's what I know my mom would want to hear? Do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I get skewed a little bit because of our relationship with our parent or sibling, right? So not many psychic mediums that I know of can really read for their own family, especially immediate family, like a mother or a father or a sibling. It gets really, really hard.
Now, you mentioned that community of other psychic mediums, and has that been really welcoming to you as well? Like, have you felt really embraced by that community, and are you able to do readings for each other and things like that?
It's been a beautiful journey. I believe, I'm always evolving and always learning. I'm always taking extra classes and doing things with other teachers, psychic medium teachings out there. I do practice circles, and the practice circles are to develop and grow a community and a tribe. So I do have a core group of psychic mediums that I trust and rely on for information for myself or when my family might need information. And then, like anything else, it spider webs out a little bit, but your boundaries and what to give and what not to give. But I do have many that reach out to me as well for readings.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have when they don't have a lot of knowledge to this?
I think like the biggest thing for me is like fear is one of them. People are very fearful of what you're going to say. I also feel like there are, unfortunately, psychics out there that do give bad names and bad raps at times for providing information. Like, I have people that come to me and say, I went to someone and they told me someone was going to die or was going to, and I don't know. I just think we're all taught differently, and we're all meant to express information differently. So I think that it could skew opinions if you go to too many different ones. A lot of my work is done through referrals, so people already know and who they're coming to and what they're going to get, and I'm building a beautiful community through it that way. So I think a lot of the misconceptions are fear, not knowing what you're going to get, not knowing how the reading is going to go, having a bad taste in your mouth from a prior experience. So there's some fear there as well. I always believe do your research and go through referrals and try to really work with someone that you can trust and work with. So I have my website, spirittalkwithroy.com. Very easy. All of my handles, all my social media, Spirit Talk with Roy. Super easy to find me. I have everything in a link tree, link in bio, everything is right there. So people normally book through my website, or again, if it is someone that I'm reading and then they're referring somebody, then they'll reach out to me through email, or if it's someone that I've read a few times, they might have my number. They'll ask me, is it okay if I can give them your number? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, So I work through different channels with people, whatever's easiest. I try to make it super convenient, but also comforting. Like for me, comfort is the biggest thing because we are working with loved ones and we are delivering beautiful messages of guidance and healing. And a lot of people are looking for a sense of security, a sense of peace, right? And tranquility. I feel that presentation and comfortability is always so important.
How do you prepare that space for a reading? Do you have like a set of rituals you like to do?
So what I do is in the morning, I wake up, I do a meditation. And I set beautiful intentions to bring forward loved ones and highest and greatest good energy for the people that I'm reading in that day. And then before I start my reading, I will do my own boundary little thing that I do. And then in between, I will cleanse and set up boundaries to make sure that the energies are not crossing in between each reading. Another thing that I like to do in my readings that is a little bit different is I like to make people feel comfortable. So I also do like 2 or 3 little oracle cards to kind of open up the energy. People tend to feel at ease when they start to hear like just messages through cards, right? That tends to put them at ease. And then from there, we move forward and we get into the reading and they start to, I can feel their boundaries and their walls start to come down because people tend to come in tensed, nervous, not knowing what to expect with a lot of walls. And what happens is for any psychic medium, it becomes hard because it's like walking through mud. And it becomes really hard to break down those walls. So I have my own kind of light way of doing it. And it tends to serve people well overall.
What are like some breakthroughs that people have had that have been really memorable? Are there any like you'd like to share?
I have so many things. I'm like starting to work on, I think, a book at this point because there's so many beautiful moments. I get emails from people daily with moments, which is so soul gratifying to know that you can go to bed, that you've helped somebody or transformed somebody or provided a message that gave them a sense of closure is just the most beautiful thing in the world. I can't even tell you the sense of gratification that that will provide. I don't know. It's like so many different, I mean, I tell people about pregnancies all the time and when that's going to happen for people who are struggling with fertility or trying to get pregnant, including time framing and genders. And I get beautiful women reaching out to me saying, oh my God, I just found out I'm pregnant. Oh my God, we just found out it's a boy, like you said. I mean, those moments are just so like uplifting and high hope. People who come to me for relationship advice, who are looking to get engaged, or looking to get married and predicting a beautiful timeline for them that way. As far as I did a reading for someone where I brought her father through and she was like, give me a sign. And I was like, he's telling me strawberries. Like, we're going to talk about strawberries. And she's like, strawberries? He wasn't a big strawberry man. He really liked peaches. And I was like, well, he's saying, look for the strawberries. The next morning she got in the mail, father and daughter day at the strawberry field. She was like, Roy, that was like life-changing for me. Life-changing for me. And ever since then now, I see strawberries all the time. All the time. So just beautiful moments like that are just so life-changing. I can't even, I mean, I have so many. I'd be here for hours.
Yeah, that's awesome. And definitely the
Beautiful.
book
Yeah.
sounds like a good format for that.
It's gonna be a good format. Yeah, it's gonna be a really good thing. So I'm excited on that project. That's a work in progress. Yeah.
I can imagine that people probably come to you wanting to open themselves up to these types of gifts too. What is your advice for that?
So prior to, getting busier, which is a great thing, I used to teach and I used to help people as well evolve their spiritual gifts who are intuitive or want to just become more open to the spiritual realm or, are connected to spirit or, are intuitive. So whatever that might be, or want to do cards. And I want to get back into teaching a little bit because I really do enjoy working with others who are gifted and be able to provide them the information, the tools to get there. But I always say, do your research and really reach out to other spiritual, influential individuals out there to guide you on your path, depending on what you want to do, whether it be tarot or oracle or shamanic or sound bowls or connecting with spirit or your psychic intuitive messages. Work with people that are going to guide you in the right direction and provide you the tools that you need. I always have also other mediums and psychics that I work with or other intuitive spiritual guides that provide many, many different classes. So I'm always able to give them references. I'm big on references, even if people are looking for, help with themselves, emotionally to continue on a different journey emotionally. I have references for that. I try to be very educated and well-versed in providing people what they need so that they have the full package.
Yeah, it sounds like this gift kind of chose you because you were so young when you had this all kind of come into your life. Do you think that that's how it works, kind of? The gift chooses you, or is it something that people seek out?
Very interesting. So could be a very controversial way because everyone thinks of it differently, to be honest. So I'm going to phrase it this way. I feel that the gift was presented to me at a very young age. I didn't know how to handle it in the beginning, knew that there was something different. Went through a lot of battles, like you remember, as a child. So it was back and forth with a lot of different things, but then presented itself full force when I could truly handle it and do the work that I needed to do. And that's where I'm at now. There are individuals that I feel developed a gift at a later age due to a traumatic experience or something that might be life-changing. But I also feel that they always had it, but never realized they had it. So it just comes out more dominantly at that moment in time. Okay. But then there's also, I feel that there are some people that feel that they are spiritual and don't really know the information they're giving out, which could also be detrimental for others. So, I feel like you just have to know who you're having a conversation with and again, do your research and know where you're going with everything. But I'm going to say that I feel the gift is in somebody, and that gift comes out when it is meant to be for your journey at that point in time. That's kind of how I feel.
And you were mentioning earlier that sometimes there's like not wanting to read your family because you're not sure which part's coming from like your heart wanting to give.
Right.
Yeah, just give them what you think would be helpful to them versus what's actually coming through. Do you kind of discern that when you're, kind of new to it? Like if you feel like you have the gift, how would you know if you really do have it or if it's just your heart is just beautiful and you want to share?
I think you kind of know when you're working with people that you don't know anything about or you don't really know information. It becomes more prevalently clear, I feel, when you happen to be meeting someone for the first time and you get an intuitive hit or you get a feeling about them. And you have to also, the biggest thing with this work, which was the hardest thing for me in the beginning, was to trust myself and to trust spirit. That is the biggest, I feel like, message and lesson I can give anyone in this work. Until you truly surrender and trust is when you truly will be able to present the information that needs to be presented. Because it becomes a power struggle, because it's like in your mind, out of your mind, in your mind, out of your mind, right? Because you're like, I want them to hear this, but is it what they need to hear? Am I really getting this or am I not getting it? Is this really true or is it not true, right? And you go through these feelings of emotions. And when I had that epiphany moment years ago where I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to give what I'm getting. And I'm just going to hope for the best, is when you actually realize, oh my God, they say, yes, I understand that. Yes, I understand that. Yes, I understand that. And at that point on, you develop the confidence, because when you first start out, to hear a no, it's really like, whoa, like shocking. No, like, whoa, right? We're taught like no, it's like, no, like really bad. But I've learned through my years of doing this that it's not so much a no. Sometimes it's the person not understanding the information that you're translating, because you have to understand we're taking information and processing it. And we're doing a lot of like arithmetic in our head to give something to somebody and trying to put pieces together. And sometimes we may not put it together properly, where it could be a no. Or sometimes there's psychic amnesia, that's what I call it, where the sitter is like getting so much information that they're like in this psychic amnesia paralysis moment where they're like, no, I don't get it. And then I'll get an email or text, oh my God, I was talking to my sister and this happened, and that's how that kind of goes.
Yeah. Can you take me back to that moment where you were feeling that fear of sharing? Like you got that hit of intuition and you just knew like this message needed to be shared, but you were not sure, and how you kind of moved yourself through that.
I just think that it came to a point where I heard my mentor say, when you start to not worry about being so perfect and worry more about what you're getting, is when you truly will surrender to spirit and know that you're getting the right information. And it just came into, I was doing a reading for somebody and I was getting like a no and a no. And I was like, oh my God, this is, she had a lot of walls up, but it was like really a struggle. So then I got something and I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to lose at this point. I have nothing to lose, right? So I'm just going to go. And I did it and I gave it. And she was like, yes, oh my God. Yes, correct. It was something about like ducks, in her backyard. And it was like the most random thing. And I'm like, why is someone going to know about ducks? She lives in the city. Like ducks, really? And I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to say it. And I did it. And that was it. And
Wow.
from that moment on, I was like, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, guides. I appreciate you. And now we're moving forward because I rely a lot on my guides because my guides are the middle gateway between also getting information a lot of times. So I use them and I use Spirit on the other side, for loved ones, for their information psychically, as well as messages. So there's a lot of tools of divination that happen in a reading.
I love that you mentioned spiritual surrender so much. What does
Yeah.
that look like in a practical way? Like for the person that's going about their daily life, working a 9 to 5, and how does spiritual surrender kind of play into that?
I think it's hard. I mean, first of all, you have to kind of abandon, I feel, some of your old practices or thoughts to a certain degree, or how we might be conditioned to like think or live to a certain way. I also feel you have to be ready to do the work because a lot of work goes into being a spiritual individual and to open up to spirit. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's not like you do one meditation, all of a sudden you're the most, you're the guru of everything, I mean, people think, oh, I did 2 meditations. I feel great. It's a lot of meditating, a lot of working, reading and looking up resources. And again, getting into practice circles, building a tribe, working with others that are like you. And that are like you, I feel like on a higher level, but also at your level of learning as well. Because the only way you're going to learn and get better is by working with people that are at a higher level, because they're going to push you to really want to grow and get in there as well, right? So it has to do with you wanting to grow, you wanting to be wrong, you wanting to like know that you can't know everything. There's a lot. And I feel Spirit teaches us not only to be better spiritual beings, but also to be better in our day-to-day life as well as we move forward through our normal practices, right? Being a better spouse, being a better parent, being a better individual in general, right? So many different areas, being a better worker.
When people are coming through, is there a message that seems to come through most often, or even just a few that, even somebody just listening to this could kind of take some peace and solace in?
The simplest messages, but the most common that I think people need to hear is, I'm sorry. I love you. I heard you. You don't have to have any guilt for not being there at my passing. You don't have to have any regret for making a decision that you did not know may or may have not caused an issue. So many people come a lot for closure because of the unspoken word. For me, the unspoken word tends to be huge for a lot of individuals who did not get the opportunity to be there at the moment. I mean, COVID really was a huge segment of our life with unspoken word because people were passing, unfortunately, and were not able to be there in the hospital or be there and do proper funeral settings. And it made it really hard for people. So closure was hard, So to be able to provide people, I heard what you said to me. You were talking to me in the mirror, or you put this in the casket. Like those moments, just to have some recognition provides the closure that people feel. Because for me, that's the hardest thing, is the unspoken word.
Yeah,
Really difficult.
that's so
Very
beautiful.
moving.
I feel like a lot of people are gonna resonate just with that little bit. I think they'll take that with them.
When we do readings, like a lot of times people will be fighting with a sibling or with a parent or with a friend. And I always tell people, this is coming up in your reading for a reason. This message is coming through for a reason. So make sure that you are at peace with wherever your relationship lies every day with everybody that is in your life currently, because you don't want to have to repeat the unspoken word again with another loved one. So I always say, if you're able to go to bed at night and feel at peace with every relationship that you have with somebody, then you won't have to worry about that unspoken word moment.
If somebody didn't get it right when they were here and they pass over and maybe they still have that feeling of like, I really messed up, I want to apologize to this loved one, do you think that they come back and come back into this experience of humanity and try it again to try to get it right the next time? Do you think like we come back multiple times in order to?
I do. I believe in reincarnation. It's another kind of disputed gray area for some people, but I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe that our soul lives on and our soul can come back and reincarnate multiple times for us if we are still learning a lesson or not getting it right on the journeys in the past. So we choose, I feel, to reincarnate until we feel at peace with all of the lessons that we have learned and our journey feels complete.
Like an enlightened master kind of level? Is that what our goal is, to kind of purify to that level?
I think it's that, and it's also to feel at peace. We all have different learnings that we have to kind of go through, you know? It's like we all need to come and live a human experience to learn certain things that we choose to do. I believe that we sign kind of like a contract and say, now this is what our life is going to be about. These are the lessons that I'm going to learn on this journey so that I can move forward. And then on the next journey, lighten the load or only learn one more thing, right? So we're always evolving, but I think it gets lighter every time that we move on and we evolve to hit that highest level so that we truly feel at peace. Do you understand? That's the way it's shown to me, and that's the way I feel I'm getting the messages and what is being told. So that's kind of how I feel the evolution will happen. I also tell people to look for deja vu moments, because deja vu, from what I am shown and how I feel, is a significant moment in our life that brings us back that we feel is relevant or familiar. And the reason why it's familiar is for two reasons. It's to first validate for us as a human who it may not be intuitive, that we are on the right path in our life and that we are on the journey path. We are not straying away from where we're supposed to be, and we are on course, okay? And then it's also to remind us of the contract that we signed before reincarnating so that we remember that we are on that path. So you signed it, you remembered it at that moment. The deja vu is a remembrance of you signing that moment. So you get two validations out of that deja vu moment. That's why they happen sometimes frequently or not so frequently. If they don't happen frequently, you're kind of straying from your path a little bit, from your journey. So you got to do some changing and some tweaking so that you can get back on that journey.
Oh, I really love that. So when you're on that path, you're getting those deja vu moments. You get to really rest in the knowing, even if your life's not exactly how you think it should be. It's like that's part of that soul contract that that you're learning the lessons. You're kind of on the right course, which is a really
Isn't that cool?
feeling.
Isn't that cool? I mean, I always ask people too when I do my readings, like, have you had a deja vu moment lately? Like, when would you get deja vu last? Because that kind of also helps them to know some things they have to work on. Like maybe they have to balance their life a little bit more, right? Maybe they're putting too much of their energy into trying to find a relationship and they're letting their career, their finances, their family life, their friends kind of go down, you know? So this is all things that I also feel I use to help people during the reading on the journey, right? But deja vu is a super great validator for anybody who wants a little bit of a feeling of an intuitive like hit.
Mm-hmm. So in your daily life, you're spending time with these enlightened masters, these folks that are on this planet, the people that have crossed over as well. And you said your guides and angels, guides, all of this.
I have angels.
Yeah.
I have some family and friends who have passed over that work with me as well as some guides. And then I have my guides, right? And people always ask me, again, this is how I feel, this is how I work and how I was taught. Can you tell me who my guides are? No. I can give you an inkling, but I can't tell you who they really are. Your guides are meant to present themselves to you when you are ready to open up and receive them, right? That was the first question I asked my mentor was, who are my guides? You know, you get all excited. Like, oh my God, who am I working with? Who am I working with? You're like so excited. And he said to me, that is your journey and your work for you to know and for you to develop. And I did so many meditations, sitting in the power and really working with my guides and calling them forward, right? And they presented themselves when it was meant to be. I also believe that they help us during very difficult times in our life as well. And they can take us out of tragic and detrimental situations where we say, boy, you know, people say, oh my God, I definitely had an angel on my side, or I definitely had someone around me during that moment because I would have never made it through. Well, guess what? they were.
It's so nice to think of our lives like that, like all the different people who are around us, that team. So every time we enter a room or every time we get in the car, like we have people with us, we have
Oh, I'm
support
not
in the
alone.
universe.
I'm never alone.
And that's so beautiful. I think that's such a
Yeah.
beautiful universal message that everyone can really embrace, that no matter what you're going through and whatever pain you're in, you have a whole team there supporting you, sending you love. There's so much love in the universe.
So much love. I mean, they're all here now around me. I mean, I can feel them. I know they're here. It's great, you know. I know they're here. Again, I mean, it's a crowded car, and I have a tiny little car, and it's a crowded car when I get in, you know. And I have a two-seater. I mean, it can only fit so many people, but they pile up on top of each other. It's good.
When you were going through the pandemic, and I mean, people were feeling deep sense of loneliness during that time. Did you feel like you had, you know, all these folks around you?
For me, like they've been communicating the same way. It's, you know, it's interesting. Like now that I know that they're around and I know what their energy feels like, and I know when they're here, I look back at moments in my life when I was younger and I say to myself, oh my God, that energy felt so familiar at that moment. And now I understand. Thank you for being there. Thank you for presenting this. Thank you for doing this, you know, and
Wow.
it's been such a beautiful journey on that aspect. So yeah, they're always around. Their energy has always been constant and it stays the same in my opinion.
Do you ever have to just be like, okay, I need a few minutes alone?
No, not with them because you know what? They know.
They can sense it.
They know when to step away. Just like spirit. Well, you know, I mean, I open and close
Mhm.
also. Like I do a practice. Like people like, oh my God, read me now, read me now, read me. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I could turn it on, but like I'm not walking around open to everybody and doing, I call them like drive-by readings. Like, you know, you know, like a supermarket, like you're at like a supermarket and you're like, oh my God, you come here, let me talk to you. Like that's a drive-by reading. Like I'm not doing that. I put up boundaries and I have something that I use as a sign to open when I'm ready to do readings and then to close when I'm shut down. Because you have to understand, it is a lot. I mean, for people who are empathic, for people who are mediums, intuitive, you know, going into a hospital, going into a funeral home, going into a cemetery could be emotionally really overwhelming. So if we don't do the proper tools and boundaries to protect ourselves, we would be way too open. It would be like an energetic storm. You know what I mean? It would be a lot. It
Yeah.
would be a lot. So it gets hard, you know, it gets really difficult at times. But I've learned, and these are things that I've taught students also, you know, what kind of sign do you want to use and how to put up the sign and what to do and all that. So it's good.
So for people who are listening who are saying like, yeah, that's me. I'm an empath. Whenever I go into a hospital, I totally absorb that energy. It takes me a while to kind of like get out of that energy. Is there a good tip or something that you can do before you go into that or after you?
Yeah. So I envision always myself surrounded in the white light, the white bubble, the white light, kind of like this photo in this card, ironically called boundaries. Can you see that okay?
Yeah. That's been
Okay.
a little bit for us today.
Yeah. So I think boundaries are really clear, very important. So she's kind of surrounded herself. So she's saying, I am only letting in energy that I feel I want to let in, and everything else is repelling out. So I always tell people in your mind, in your mind's eye, right? We want to create a shield, a white bubble, a white light surrounding us. All right. I say something that's really special to me, but it's just as easy as I only want to let in energies that support my highest and greatest good, and all negative energy I reflect or repel away. You could say anything that kind of like that. I have my own thing that I say, but it's more about making sure that you are setting the intention that you are now putting up a boundary in a wall. You're surrounding yourself to protect yourself in all areas. Okay. And I believe in saging, like, you know, definitely do your saging periodically and cleanse your area and cleanse your space and all that. I think that's really important as well, because that all kind of helps us to stay within our boundary limit and not letting in the energies that we don't want. You know, some people imagine a door opening in their mind as a way, like some of my friends, they do the door opens when they're open, the door closes when they're closed. Some people imagine they put a hat on when they're ready to work, they take the hat off when they're not working any longer. You know, it's something as easy and cheesy as that, but it's what relates to them and it's what spirit for them understands is their open and close. And all you have to know is what works for you and what sign do you want to use. Set the intention, use it moving forward, and they will get acclimated and understand.
And how many times have you forgotten to do this?
In the beginning, a lot. In the beginning,
Yeah.
a lot. But now, I mean, I travel a lot. An airplane is a nightmare at times. Do you know what I mean? It's such a closed bubble
Yeah.
in the sky, you know? So it's like we're really on top of each other.
Mhm.
So I think that just traveling in airports and again, you know, hospitals and funerals and just being around a lot of people. I do a lot of like gallery events and stuff like that. I've learned now to do it, but in the beginning, you forget. It's natural. Even when I was younger, I used to walk around open to the world. I was like, oh my God, come in, it's a party.
So, and when you're on that plane, so people are traveling with their luggage, but they also are traveling with some
Their
baggage
luggage
for their
with
pack.
their own baggage. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
When you're sitting next to somebody on a plane and they kind of find out that this is what you do, they ask you what you're doing for a living. Do you just go into it, or do you find that sometimes I do not even want to talk about this? I don't want to even open up to this
Is it
conversation.
interesting? You ask good questions. So that's interesting. In the beginning, I was nervous to say anything because again, you're learning, you're in the beginning, you don't know how people are going to be receptive to it, how are they going to look at you, you get fearful. But now I just say what I do. I embrace it. I take it in 100%. It's like anything else. You know what I mean? I am who I am. I live authentically and I live proudly and I have nothing to hide. If you do not like my authentic self, then I am just not the right person for you. It's like anything else. And I'll answer that question that you asked me, but I want to go into this. Not every psychic medium is for every person, just like not every hairdresser is for every person, and every doctor is not for every person. So you have to build a connection and feel comfortable with the person that you're with, right? It's like anything else. So I may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I would hope that I'm reaching at least 9 out of 10 people with the type of tea I'm serving. That's all, do you know? But with the plane situation or just in general, telling people or asking people, I just tell them what I do. I feel people are much more spiritual now. I will tell you that, and much more open. So I get a really welcoming response. I do get that there are some people that are in their religious zone. I was raised Catholic and I am Catholic and I do use some of my religious beliefs in what I do for myself, right? I have my angels behind me, right, in those photos. So I do use them. But I try to educate people and I try to let people know what I do. 9 times out of 10, people are welcoming, they love it, they're all about it, they're spiritual beings. I also set intentions to only interact with people that will support my highest and greatest good. So I'm also telling the universe, right, to only put people in my path or to sit next to that are open individuals that would understand, right? Because then that way it makes it easier for my journey and for their journey. If someone happens to not understand, because of course we're in life and we're living a human experience, I try to educate them. And then at that point, if they don't want to hear it or become very one-sided, I say, I understand and I respect your view values. And then I just kind of change the topic at that point. You know, I'm always respectful because I don't want to judge anybody because I never want to be judged.
So for yourself, you
Mhm.
said like there was a time where you were very open, kind of accepted all different types of energy. Were you open with people too? Like there'd just be all kinds of people, characters coming into your life and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little bit of a learning curve and a lot of chaos. I think we have to go through that learning process and that little bit of chaotic storm energy in order to really find our way, find where we belong, find what we need to do, and how to mend and get on track again. So I feel everything was a learning lesson to get me to where I am today. I am so grateful. I am so thankful. I feel so blessed, to be honest with you, to be able to do this work and to be able to help so many people that I cannot imagine doing anything else but what I do now.
I know you're very in the moment, you're a very present person, but do you think often about the future and what that might look like?
I do feel that spirit is guiding me on a certain journey with some great trajectory, which I'm super excited about. So I do have some really great projects and some really great collaborations. As you know, I mentioned earlier, I'm also starting to work on creating a little bit of a memoir and a little bit of a book of beautiful moments and memories that I think will help other people in situations that they can relate to help kind of ease their minds while until they get a reading or want to get a reading. But I feel good, you know, where things are going, and I feel, like I said, very blessed with the trajectory of where things are headed. I see myself now with COVID opening and not really being around anymore too much, doing a lot more events. So I want to really get out there and I have some really heavy travel coming up in the coming months where I am hoping to do some really good scouting for venues and doing gallery events of 75, 100 people. I have one coming up in September in my state of New Jersey, which I'm really excited about. So there's like really some good things. I've been recently featured in Vogue magazine, which was really, really great. That was really, really fun. Yeah, that was great. So I got to do that. And just really connecting with some great people. I have to be honest with you, Spirit will put in your path the people that will serve you and take you to where you are meant to be. And I think that's what's most important, is to be open to every opportunity, even if you feel like it's not your vein or not something you may want to do. Because at the end of the day, that may not be the opportunity, but it could be the opportunity that leads you to the next biggest opportunity. So I'm very big on having an open mind and really just taking everything in that you feel will serve you. A lot of times we prejudge a little bit too, like, I would not do that. I don't feel, it's going to be small. I don't want to do that, right? But you never know where that's going to lead.
What puts you in that highest frequency? Like, what are you doing when you are just like, feeling like you are just beaming like with that light?
I think a lot of it has to do with like our mindset. We have to clear out all of our emotional situations that are happening, you know what I mean, throughout the day. So like I have some readings that I'm going to be going into, but then I also had an issue with a family member who it was in the ER. So we have like a lot going on. So we have to clear our mind, cleanse the energy. I will probably do a meditation again. I will cleanse from what's happening now. And things that raise my vibration are walking outside barefoot, right, in the ground, being one with the universe, right? Getting our feet dirty in the grass, in the dirt, going in the water, walking by the beach, going into the lake, working with plants, getting our hands dirty, working with vegetables, listening to music at high levels, right? Singing and dancing raises vibration. This all helps us to get our level really, really high. Just doing fun things. I like to go to bed watching The Golden Girls. As old as that might be, but you know what that does for me? It's like ritualistic for me, is it makes me laugh, it raises my vibration, and it makes me go to bed in a very good mood so that I wake up happy. Do you understand? So it's a ritual thing for me. It might be Seinfeld for somebody else. It might be Cheers. I don't know. But for me, this is what works. And this is what Spirit has told me to do. I am following my intuitive guidance and I am going with it, and that's how I'm being led. So those are things that help raise your vibration. That's what I do. That's what helps me get there. And it's working, and I'm grateful.
Have any of the Golden Girls come through?
Not yet. I wish they would. I'd love to, I feel like sometimes I have a Blanche moment, but I would I wish they would come through. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. I would
love to speak to like a little Betty White, a little B. Arthur here or there. You know what I mean? It'd be great.
Definitely.
It'd be
I love that so much. That actually makes my spirit very happy here, just to hear that. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with those things that bring joy in, especially before bed, because we go to sleep a lot of times, and sometimes we're thinking about the stressful moments from our day, or bills, or any challenges we face, right? And then we take it into sleep with us, and then we have these nightmares or dreams that are really weird. So to have laughter be the last thing that you're kind of doing, I think that that's really, really good.
I do want to say that I do feel somebody around you, though.
Really?
There is I think someone that I feel you may not have had closure with during their passing. And I feel a feminine energy around you. And I do feel like this person might have been taken at a younger age. Maybe like late 40s, early 50s. So do you happen to, just say yes or no, do you happen to know of a female that might have passed around that time frame that you may have not had the proper goodbye or closure with?
Yes.
Okay. So she is around you. She is supporting you. She is a strength behind you. And I get a little bit of like a motherly figure to a certain degree with this individual. So she might have seen herself as slightly like a mother to you. And she has guided you a lot. Like, I think she stepped in a lot as family, or as a family guidance for you. Do you understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes. She's with her mother, she's saying. I'm with my mom.
Yeah.
Let me see if she gets me. Her mom did a lot of work, she's saying, for the community or for people in the community. Do you understand that? Do you know? Um, it's like she's saying, my mom took her experience and took it to like the next level to help people who might relate to what she went through. Do you understand that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I do feel like this woman did pass from illness because I do get the illness sign. And she takes me right to our month. She's like, your month is my sign. There's something with the pink ribbon. Do you understand the pink ribbon?
I know exactly who you're talking about. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So she's saying your month is my sign. So she feels extra connected because we have the same birthday, logically, right? October. You need to use her more, is what she's saying.
Amazing. I would love to. She was
You
a
need to use her more. She goes, I was so helpful here on Earth. Why are you shying away now? I could do so much more from the other side. What's the matter with you? You need to pull on me more. Call on me more. I do get like a motherly figure from her, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
I do
even
get.
told her, she reminded me so much of my mom, but like younger and like just wouldn't hold anything back. Just
Yeah,
told me
yeah,
everything like it was. Like,
yeah. Does she like jewelry? Like,
yes, we made her jewelry. That's
okay,
so crazy. My friend he would make jewelry and we actually made her some bracelets. It was just something we did one day.
she's talking about the jewelry. She's talking about she's mentioned the jewelry to him, mentioned the jewelry to him.
That's huge. And she was so special. Just so
I
special.
can tell. I get very energetic, full of life, high vibrational, never judged anybody. She would tell you how it is. She would give you a piece of her mind. But at the end of the day, if she loved you, you were good. You were like her people. Do you understand? That's kind of what I get from her. I do get some movement with her too. So I feel like some west to, I don't know, maybe like Illinois or Kentucky or something here. I feel like there's some movement. Do you understand? But there's some back and forth or something like that. But she is around, and I get recent too. I get recent. So probably within the last 2 years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. There's a reason why she came through though, and you might need to hear something or might need to use her now moving forward a little bit more. There's always a reason why we hear from who we hear from.
And in what way would be good to kind of welcome that energy in, or how can is there a sign that
I'm gonna see if she gives me, I'm gonna see if she gives me a sign. For me, it's really much about you just in your mind, right? When you're alone or meditating and you want to take 5 or 10 minutes to just call her forward and say, I am now open to having you work with me. So show me what I need to know. If I call upon you, please show me a sign. So this is what I'll tell you. And this is what I do. I tell the spirit world to also show me signs for answers if I need something. So for me, it's an owl. An owl is my symbol.
Mhm.
So if I'm contemplating something or I need help with something, a yes or no, whatever, I'd be like, show me an owl. If I see an owl, I know I need to do this. If I don't see it, then I know the answer. And no, like I'm telling you, you'll see an owl on television. You'll see an owl on like a card. You'll open up a book and there'll be a photo of an owl, right? So use a symbol for yourself. That's the first thing. And then tell her that you are now open to her working with you. It's all about the mind's eye. You need to work with the mind's eye more. It's about opening up your third eye and really connecting, right? Opening up the heart chakra and just really saying, I'm ready, I'm willing, work with me, I'm going to call upon you. And she says, test me. That's what she's saying. She goes, test me. Tell him to test me.
Sure. That's great.
That's what she said. She goes, test me. I like it.
Yeah.
She's a piece of work.
Amazing. She was just, yeah, she was a
Mhm.
total light on this earth. And you said the pink ribbon, and she died of cancer. And it's just like, you were so spot on everything. I can't even believe it. It's like incredible. I didn't expect her to come forward either. So
Never
that's
know who you're going to hear from. That's what I tell people.
wow.
I'm like, people come through with like, well, I also tell them this, like, set the intention for who you want to hear from. But I wish it was as easy as like, let me call up like grandma and like, grandma, come through. Like, it's not that easy. I always say we hear from who we are meant to hear from. I also feel like because of your relationship with her and what she can do, I do feel like she does have some extra ability to help you from the other side that could be really beneficial for you. So that's why I'm really feeling called that she came through and to say this. And that's what she's saying, tell him to test me.
Yeah,
Because
no,
you're
it's perfect. There's no, this is the perfect person to come through for me, for what I need in this plane. Because the person I thought you might pick up on was my grandma. It's funny you said grandma too. That's who I was thinking might show up because she loved me so much and I adore her. She's that person for me that's like that North
right.
Star. But
Yeah,
having Tracy come through for me is like, it's like that burst of energy I need in my life. And it's
I
just
love that.
so thank you. Thank you,
You're
truly.
very welcome. You're very welcome. This is what I do.
Yeah, it's incredible work.
What I love to do. This is what I
To
do.
experience it firsthand is so powerful. So I would highly recommend anybody watching to reach out.
Thank
Incredible.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love what I do. That's what I'm telling you. It's the moments like that that make me feel so fulfilled.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful thing. It's so beautiful to be able to help people in such an amazing way. You know what I mean? Connect with her more, reach out to her, let her know you're open to receiving from her. She's saying test me, so she's ready for the work. She's like, I'm bored on the other side. Was she like a little entrepreneurial-ish? Did she own a business or operate? Because I get entrepreneurial with her too.
she was one of the heads of Merrill Lynch with like HR. So everybody came to her with their problems. And when you said she moved around, she did a lot of moving around for work.
Right.
She'd be with this team and then she moved to this team. And it's just like you just hit it so like just so many things. So it's really incredible. But she was that person that everybody would bring all their drama, all their chaos to her, and she would sort it all out and she would make it
Love that.
great. And she was such a powerful force. And just like everyone should have a Tracy in their life.
Everyone should have a Tracy. I feel like everyone should have someone they feel connected to.
Oh,
There is some travel that she says you're going to be embarking on, and that she'll be with you every step of the way as well. So I want you to understand that.
I actually kind of feel embraced right now, which is
You
really,
should. You
yeah.
should. She's around you.
Thank you for the gift. Thank
You're very
her. Thank you. Thanks, Spirit. Thank
everybody. We thank everybody that can help us. Everybody that can help us. Do you want me to pull an oracle card for you too before we leave?
That'd be incredible.
I'll pull you a card too. Okay, we'll pull an oracle card.
All right.
We'll see what we got for you. Let's shuffle a little bit more. And I don't look, if you notice, when I do my readings, I don't look directly at people because I don't want to get distracted because I'm trying to like listen to what they have to say.
Should I look away too? I don't.
I'm like, don't get offended if I'm like looking aimlessly, because I actually feel like they like almost come like through and take over a little bit with the thought. What does Kaden need to know? Show me what he needs to know. Thank you. Here you go.
Action.
So this card is all about, this is all about movement. So let me tell you the message, okay? This card is about movement. So when we get the action card, this is all about not being complacent, not taking your foot off the gas, pushing forward, taking action now. If there are things that you have been holding back on, not knowing how to move forward with, this card is saying, do the action with what you feel is your first gut instinct. If it's to do this and close one door and open another, take that action now. If it's to open all the doors, take that action now. Your energy is about really good momentum right now. So you should embrace the energy and ride the wave while you can, right? Because it's going to extend all the way through, I feel, into the end of August, beginning of September. So you have some time to really gain good momentum and take some hard action. That is what that card's about. What is your initial gut feeling? What is your intuitive feeling about the situation, right? Like you should really also kind of pay attention to what you're feeling. Like when you felt almost the embrace that she was around you, right? You had that intuitive feeling that she was there, which she was around you on your side. So that's what you have to do. Like if you feel one door needs to close or one door needs to shut, don't keep it open because you feel tethered or because you feel like it's like the last straw of holding on to something because there's fear. Don't let the fear take over. right? Follow what you're being told, because your intuitive guidance will always take you to the next big thing. If we don't close one door, we can't open another.
Recently, I have closed a lot of doors when it comes to social media. I kind of took a break from it. If I've been off it for a week, and I felt energetically so much more powerful by not putting my energy in so many different places. I felt like I reclaimed it in a way.
I think we have to step away from things. I mean, I also sometimes, again, with social media, get a little wrapped up, right? Because it is part of life and what we do to a certain degree. But now I have basically segmented designated times to like when I should do things on social media, because I was at the point like you, like liking things and scrolling and doing a lot. And it was like becoming very, very like mindless, aimlessly work that was like not being productive in any which way.
Yeah. And as soon as I kind of closed those doors, I was learning on such a higher level. I was feeling like intuition was coming through in such a powerful way. And to the point where I was like, I want to share this with other people because I think it's so incredible. And for the last 20 years, I've been on social media. I mean, we're talking from MySpace days. I've just been on it for all those years.
I know.
And like, I should have taken a break a lot sooner because I'm just getting all of these incredible downloads since it happened. It's been so nice to talk with you and learn more about what you're doing, the great work that you're doing out there in the world, bringing peace into people's lives and connecting with spirit. I think that's so amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You too. I love connecting with other spiritually open humans. I think it's really great to share our gift and share what we can do and broadcast it as much as we can, right? To just get the word across. And I feel good things are going to come out of this. And I actually do feel we're going to connect again on other levels. We'll be doing more fun stuff together. I feel good about it.